the remainder of this next month.
Okay.
And then I head north to Montana to participate in this big event called Bourbon and Bonfire, which is
Okay.
like this. It's like a big donor event. A lot of Yellowstone people come, and I'm going
What
to
kind
go
of
talk about the Res
donor for what?
Challenge.
Oh, okay, the
I can
restaurant.
actually send you the info. It's like this guy does this big event that he's done it for a couple years. He just has a lot of just like big people that go, and it's all sort of it's charity centric, but it's all about it's like Billy Bob Thornton is hosting it, I think, this year.
Okay.
And so it goes like 2 weekends, and you have big buy-ins. So like a donors come in, and I think it's like a 25K buy-in or something. And you
Okay.
can like go spend the weekend and hang out with famous people and, you know,
Yeah, of course.
yeah, it's the mix. And
Yeah.
then, you can maybe they auction off a trail ride up in the mountains on the property. It's like it's in Hunter's Hot Springs, Montana is what
Okay.
it is.
All
This
right.
guy has like a big maybe he's building a hotel or something out
Yeah.
there.
Okay.
It's a cool event. I've never gone. This is my first year, but
Are you
he's
going as a
going.
speaker or are you going to go to
I
Mitchell?
told him, yeah, I'm gonna speak. He originally just brought me in to just show up as an actor, just to be there as part of the
Yeah.
group. But I told him, I was like, look, if you want any more content, I'll speak on the Res, because the Res Challenge is literally the following weekend, and he's
That's September
giving.
10th, right?
Well, no, we're pushing it 1 week because of this event thing, because I think I can probably pull the purse just by going to this event. So
Oh,
it'll
awesome.
just be better for the gentlers. I can attract more funds that we
Okay.
can allocate to all the guys. So we've intentionally done it this way. We don't have, it's not confirmed yet. That's why you probably don't know, but
All right.
we're
Yeah,
getting
because they had
confirmation.
mentioned that the date was up in the air, but I'd like to be there.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Yeah. No. Well, yeah, for sure. So then from there, I'm just going to drive straight down to Arizona and do the challenge.
okay. All right. And then, so that probably be what, second, third week of September?
I think this last weekend of these donors is like 12, 13, 14. So it'll be the following weekend after
Okay.
that. That's what
So the
we're
third
aimed
week.
at.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah, that's what
I'm
we're
just
aiming
writing it down. So that's
at.
all. All
Mm-hmm.
right. Cool. All
Mm-hmm.
right. Good. So, tell me whatever you want to talk about. Listen, we're here for you. I obviously need to really blow this up. I need people to start talking about this because,
Yeah.
what she did was she snowballed a lot of people by coming out with this new bill, and people think that's actually going to end roundups, but it's not.
What's the new bill say?
So the bill says in 2 years that she's fighting to end helicopter roundups, but not the roundups.
Okay.
Yeah, it's more BLM centric than actually taking care of the horses.
Okay. And this is just a bill she's proposing. It's not
She's
a
a bill
bill.
that she's proposing, and it won't
Okay.
even. Yeah, it's not even something that's going to get done in this Congress. It'll get done in the next. Basically, what she's setting herself up, what she did the last election and the election before. Basically, hey, vote for me again, and next year I'll work on this.
Well, look, I don't know her, right? So I can't speak on her or her programs
Yeah,
or what she wants to do. But what I can sort of highlight is I love the idea of it, right?
yeah,
But my mind is very lawyery in the way that it thinks, and it goes, well, if you stop the roundups, if you want slaughter to end, period, how does that make sense? First of
how do you
all,
manage?
yeah, I mean, it's really down to that. Nobody's going to put their neck out there on the line and say, you're right, helicopter roundups are bad. We're going to stop them. Well,
Yeah,
what's your solution though?
yeah,
Because as you sort of straitjacket the ability to manage herds.
yeah.
I mean, if you've owned any animals in your life in excess of numbers that are pretty
Big
big,
numbers.
and
Yeah,
you have, animal husbandry is part of that, is management. And when
yeah.
you
It
have a
gets out of
wild,
control real quickly.
real quick, and it's to nobody's fault, right? The problem happens when you remove apex predators. And that's nature's herd management, right? And they're there in a way to create the full circle of life. But when we don't have that, and because for whatever reason we've removed it, or we've made it so those big cats don't roam, and or the horses have found certain pockets of areas that are populated or on the outside, so there's no big cats there to allow nature its
Yeah,
natural processes, then we have to sort of onto the
Yeah.
scene and do it. But the difference is we're not mountain lions, we're humans, and we're gifted with a much more evolved, just an evolved sense of empathy and compassion. And I think that as humans, that's just our deal. We're not out there ravaging and killing and
No, no,
and
no. Yeah, we're compassionate
dismembering and yeah.
because we have like that human touch to it. We're like, okay, it's
we
softer side to us.
That's what makes us unique and special and
Yep.
and and divinely at the top, right?
Yeah.
If you look at
We're
it,
top of the
that's
food chain.
why we are at the top, because of that, right?
Yeah.
So because of that, it's just not, for me, and people ask me this all the time, right? Well, why is it not okay just to allow wild horses to be protein sources? And I'm like, it's a very valid question. And I think all the questions have to be posed. They all have to be asked because we have to really think about it,
Well,
right?
it's not an easy fix. I mean, and no one said it's an easy fix because, like, ever since I started on this journey, I've had every type of person reach out to me.
Oh, I
People
bet.
that, I mean, like, I've had, actually, let me introduce you first,
Yeah. Oh,
So,
yeah.
actually, why don't, okay, all right, because obviously I'm going to put this online. So, why don't you
Yeah.
introduce yourself? Because there's a lot. You have a huge resume.
Oh
So,
man, a resume
uh,
of life.
yeah.
Yeah, my name is Dawn Olivieri, and I have a few jobs. I've
So,
got a
you're a
lot of
good old
people.
Irish girl.
No, Italian. I like
I
how
know. I'm
yeah,
just
yeah,
joking.
exactly. Yeah, Irish, through and through, through and through.
Yeah.
All the way down to the olive skin tone. That's me.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
But no, I most people would know me because I'm an actress. I've been an actress for almost 20 years, which is like almost makes me choke a little bit when I say
I'm
er.
still mad at her. I will always be mad at her.
I
She
know.
killed
So
John
sorry,
Dutton.
everyone out there. Ruined your favorite TV show.
Yeah.
But in all fairness, I was just a vessel. It wasn't my idea.
Okay. All right.
I'm the closer. That's what I call myself, as the
Yep.
closer. It's not the first show that I've done that to. I'll just put that out there. So
Okay.
usually they bring me in when they
They
wanna
want
tie a
to end
thing
it
up.
exactly.
Yeah.
Why is that?
And
Like, so you have something similar to one of my really good friends, Stephanie Kurzuba,
okay.
who's been in Wolf of Wall Street, Irish, and the list goes on, right? And
Mhm.
she plays the perfect bitch role. And like I always joke with her, I'm like, you're the nicest person in the world, but you play a bitch just right. And she's like, I don't know. I mean, but that's it. But you have that same trait.
I think it's like a very you have to have an underlying level of very authentic no fucks.
Yeah. Well,
I
you're good
have
at
that.
it. So, but that gives listen, but that gives you. I mean, that makes you talented.
Yeah, well, it's learning how to, use that and apply that. But, I think as an actor, when you have that sort of that true confidence
Yeah.
in just as a human being, it'll translate on screen, because also going into those sets where you're doing whatever you're doing in front of 50 people, the no fucks thing still works. It
Yeah,
still
of
kind of
course.
comes into play, because I don't care if there's 20 people or 2 people, I'm going to do the same thing, because
Absolutely.
nobody has anything to do with what I'm doing. Right.
Yep.
And there's also a part of it too. I think that from an early age, I was very much a loner, right?
Okay.
I was bullied in school. So I really had to rely on my own ability to navigate a moment in my mind.
I
And
think
I
we
think
lost you
that,
there. Your camera.
oh, the
Okay.
camera got cut out. Oh, let me
Yep.
make sure we're all good. Um, Here, I'll plug it in just to make sure we don't do anything. It doesn't go. Am I still there?
I just see a black screen right now and the letter
Oh
G.
man, you're stuck too. Hold on a second. Let me just make sure. I'm pretty sure I have plenty of juice, but tell me when it comes back to life.
Uh,
We'll just pause
okay.
we'll
You
pause
might
your deal.
you might have to exit and go back in again. I think.
Okay, let me see
Yeah.
what. Okay, let me do that. I'll exit. I don't know how to do that yet, but
You just hit leave and then come right
oh,
back.
I see it.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, bye.
And then click that link again. Then.
Okay.
There you are.
And we're back. And we're back.
So
So I was always a loner. I had to rely on my own ability to discern a moment and to stand up against bullies and make my own way. And I think I got very okay with marching to the tune of my own drum.
same here.
Yeah.
I was never bullied, but I mean, I do the same thing. Like I walk in, I don't care if it's 100 people or 2 people. I'm going to
Yeah.
speak the same way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Exactly. So
Yeah.
that I think it's a teacher of authenticity. It just teaches you that you are who you are, and that's great. And you got to lead with that because there's no competition in that department.
Yeah. No, no, of course,
No one's
exactly.
gonna be me better than me. So
No.
that's the best choice.
Yep. And I mean, you're like the person that can sell yourself the best. I mean, there's
Yeah,
nobody else that can do that for you. No one can pitch
that's
you
it.
better. So,
That's
but
it.
now you're doing a couple different things. Now you got Landman. Oh no, no,
Well,
not Landman.
no,
Okay.
lioness.
Lioness. Yep. Okay.
Yep,
All right.
lioness. And so Taylor Sheridan's very loyal. And the second I was done with Yellowstone, he sent me a text. He's like, I'm gonna park you at Lioness. Because I actually sent him a text. I sent him a text and I was like, I think you're gonna love what we did with Yellowstone. We just wrapped it up. Just let me know when my start date is for Landman. Because like no fuck. And and he's like, ha ha ha. He's like, actually, he's like, I'm gonna park you over at Lioness for now. And I'm like,
Okay.
okay,
All right.
here we
Good. But
go.
you also were in 1893. Most people don't know that.
1883, but the
1883. Yeah.
numbers are too much. Nobody gets it right. Nobody
Yeah.
knows. They're like 1924, 5, 6.
1923 is the other one. Yeah.
Yeah,
They're
yeah,
pretty
1923
someplace.
is the other one. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
1883 is this one. That for me, that was the first one. That was my
Yeah.
first introduction into the Sheridan universe, and
Good.
I I almost didn't take it because it was only 2 episodes, and I thought to myself, well, I'm worth more than a 2 episode arc. Doesn't he
Yeah.
know? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
doesn't
Of
he
course.
know
Yeah.
the caliber of what I have
But
to
it
offer?
got you into all this now. So.
Well, that's the lesson inherent in a
Yeah.
choice like that because even if it was a small thing and you take it on, but you give it everything that you've got,
Yeah.
that tiny little seed sprouts into the biggest garden.
Absolutely. Well, I think you're going to go. I mean, you're going to do a lot because you're great at what you do. Even
Thanks.
though I was mad at you for the longest time, but because of what you're doing now,
Yeah.
forgive you. All right.
You're
Forget
so
John Dutton.
you're in. You're in. I know. There's a new Yellowstone in town for sure.
So now, obviously, you reached out. Actually, we reached out to each other. I think I don't know how
Yeah.
we met, but
Yeah.
what you're doing, I actually really respect.
Yeah.
Everything that you're doing, I want you to share what you're doing, and then how we can all work together and how we can make a difference.
Man, there's a
What is it
lot.
that you want, and what do you think can help? Because obviously, the issue is this: these horses are being picked up. There's no real clear path. The BLM is doing whatever they're doing. Nobody in Congress is actually stepping up to actually say come up with a solution where you can actually end the roundups and also have a place where these horses are being instead of being housed in prisons, they can actually go out and be free. But what's the plan? I've heard every different plan. I mean, like I told you, the one person reached out to me, William Simpson. He said, "Look, he wants to do the fire brigade." I don't know if you heard of him.
Of course. Yes.
Yeah, he wants to do a fire brigade. I had other people. Then I had politicians come out to me and say, "Stop talking about the horses. Don't do this. We won't support you." I said, "Well, I'm running because of what I believe in, and not because I need somebody's
Interesting.
support."
Good
You
for
know,
you.
I had
Yeah.
3 people reach out to me that are actually currently running in other states that have horses, and they said,
Yeah.
"Stop talking about it." And
Why do you think they're saying that?
because the ranchers donate money.
Yeah, right.
That's what
Okay.
it is. It all comes down to it. And they're like, "You're never going to get the donations from the ranchers." I said, "Well, so be it at this
Yeah.
point."
Yeah.
I'm not a politician. I'm running for office because of everything that I went through. So I'm
Yeah.
running because I believe in certain things, and that's
Yeah.
it. If I was like everybody else, then I'm a sellout, and then I
Yeah.
should step out. I mean, this is not my field.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Well, the truth will prevail, right?
yep, exactly. I mean,
So, yeah, I mean, I love that insight because for me, I've never been a political person until the horses.
same here.
They've brought me into this arena that in a way that it just makes me laugh a little bit because I'm the most political. I'm just like,
Yeah,
I'll
exactly.
make up my own words. Like I have no idea. I'm in the woods. I love animals. I'm just trying to help. I'm saving lives. That's what I'm doing. And And to think now that because of these horses, I'm willing to go and speak and be in front of people about it is
Yeah.
pretty incredible.
Well, because I mean, there's an issue and no one's stepping up, and now you see it like, yeah, I have to step up, and that's the same thing with me.
That's
No
really
one's
it.
stepping up.
That's really
Like
it. You look around and you're like, is no one else here doing this? I don't
exactly
understand. How is this even possible?
because a lot of people are afraid. Like most people
Yeah.
would have got that phone call that I got and said, okay, you know
Right.
what, I'll
Back
back
down.
down. No, but that's not. I
Yeah.
mean, the whole purpose of me running is the system screwing people. We got
Yeah.
to fix it, and no one
Yeah.
else is going to do it. So I got to
You
try.
got to get political on him. That's what you got to do.
Political,
That's what I'm
political.
doing. I'm getting political on all of them. So here we go. No, I commend you for that. I think that's, if anything, it shows how honest and how true you are to to a situation that really isn't okay. It's just really not
It's not
okay.
okay.
It's not okay.
I can't see them being hurt. And you know what? Um, being that I've had to go to prison and being locked up in a jail during fighting the government, when I see these horses locked up, it's the same thing. It's prison,
Yeah,
right?
it
And
is.
it's a life sentence for them.
It
And I
is. Yeah.
don't, like I even hate animal shelters with dogs and cats. I go in there and try to rescue as many as I possibly can.
Oh, I
I just
know
don't
it.
have enough land.
I
So,
know it. I know. We need land leases. That's my new
yeah,
thing. Land leases.
exactly. So tell
So
me what you were doing because what you're doing is pretty interesting.
So I, we talked about the acting stuff. I was doing that, and then
No, no, no,
I
yeah,
I moved out to a big piece of land in Arkansas, and I thought my dream out there was to just be able to tack my horse up and ride out into the national forest. So I
yeah,
got national forest boundary, 160 acres, really beautiful place in Arkansas. No permits. You're outside the city limit. You are free. You are
yeah, of
free.
course, yeah,
You can do whatever you want. And I got out there and accidentally started in on the horse rescuing thing. I thought I had so much land, and here I found these horses that needed rescuing, and they were unhandled, wild caught Navajo horses. I didn't know anything about anything, but I thought, well, I have a lot of land. Let me bring in a couple. Well, my first rescue went from two horses with their little foals to 29 horses. That was my first rescue.
wow,
Talk about jumping in head first. I had no idea what I was doing. I was letting my heart guide me, and
yeah,
that's what happens when you when you
yeah,
when you let your heart guide you, and you better be able to back it up. So
yeah,
I really quickly mobilized and figured out how to become a 501 overnight. I got so much support and help. Just thank God. Thank God I was at least in the place in my career where some people were paying attention to what I was doing so that they could
yeah,
show up and help me.
yeah,
And
of
they
course.
did. And Tractor Supply showed up. Hal from Tractor Supply is what an amazing company. I have multiple brand partnerships now that are doing this to help the horses. Keystone, Montana,
Okay.
Polaris showed up. And so I've really been lucky and recognized that the position I have in this sort of fight is pretty prominent. I mean,
Yeah,
I have a platform, I have attention, I have awareness. I also have the ability to attract new people to
yep.
inform them about what's happening. And
No,
suddenly I'm this actress saving animals. So
well,
what we
and like a lot of actresses or actors aren't doing it. I mean, there's a handful, but like when I saw you and what you were doing, I'm like, hold on, this girl's actually into this, like I
Yeah,
am,
I'm
and
in.
that's what, yeah, exactly, yeah, no, you're in, like
I'm
I am.
all in. I'm
You, you know, um,
I'm
yeah,
all
like
in.
my campaign manager said to me a week ago, and he's going to listen to this. He's going to have his coronary, and he says, "Listen, the wild horses are not the hill to die on." I said, "Well, I'm only running because I believe in certain things, so
Man,
I said, you can't stop me."
free.
You know,
I think, what I think though? What I think, Bobby, that's right. That's exactly right. Make horses native again. I freaking love those hats. It might not be a hill to die on, and that should be the slogan of the entire movement, because I don't
yeah,
think anything should be dying like that.
no, exactly,
It's intrinsically wrong. And a lot of people then they follow up this argument with, well, what about cattle? And I
exactly,
and I go, fair enough, right? In India, the cow is considered God because
yeah,
of the,
yeah,
the
because that's the
universe
religion. Yeah,
exists in the stomach. It's a religion, right? So I'm not saying that cows are no better than horses, but what I am saying is horses horses possess a very unique quality that even cattle doesn't. We don't go to the Olympics on cows. We
yeah,
don't partner up. We don't buy our little kids a
they're
miniature
not. They're
cow
not
so
like
that
livestock.
they can learn to work together, and they can, reciprocate and teach us about ourselves. Cattle are different in that respect, and there is
Yep.
something very unique about horses and what they have to offer, even to the point where I don't even think we've cracked the code on it yet. But we do know that in partnership we can work together. They offer a reflection of self and evolvement. There's a magic to horses that don't
There is.
exist in other animals, and it just doesn't, right?
I mean, I don't want to take up too much time when it comes to certain things, but like when I was going through what I was going through, my legal troubles, I would spend all day long with the horses, and my blood pressure would be like right here.
There's
They kept me
something.
calm,
Yeah.
and I don't think they should be labeled as livestock. And I get people's arguments. My whole thing when I approach it is, look, the government said in 1971 that they were dedicating 53 million acres to these horses, right? It's
Yeah.
no different than what we make promises to the natives or we make
Yeah.
promises to other countries. We keep breaking our promises. And that's the
Yeah.
thing that's pissing me off. So we made
Yeah.
a promise. Then we went back on the words because of money. At the end of the day,
It's always about that, right?
it's always about money. And ranchers started donating money. Then they got land leases. Now they're like, well, get rid of them. But the horses that's their land. That's what it was dedicated to. So I'm like, okay, well, fine. We need to come up with a couple different solutions. We can maybe move the horses in different places. Okay, maybe if they're too
Hmm.
close to something, let's move them. There's enough land out there on the 53 million acres where we can say, like the guy William, he says, look, bring them to California. There's land where there's nowhere else, and the grass is being overgrown.
Hmm.
There's solutions out there. What you
There
talk
are.
about, I want you to tell me about that product that you're about to launch, if you can.
Yeah. So I would say that, the reason I find this whole epidemic an issue is because I just don't think it's okay for any type of animal. And if we had too many dogs and cats running the streets, the solution is not get the paddy wagon and toss them in and then gas chamber everybody, right?
No, of course, that doesn't work.
That seems like such a low brow, low rent, low consciousness way of dealing with any living thing.
That's what
So
they're doing in Turkey and Morocco right now with the dogs.
they're doing that, right? And in the same argument, it's like the Yulon Dog Festival shouldn't
Don't
go
get me
either.
started.
It's just not. It's not okay. We have to come up with other ways. And I don't see a horse is very much like a puppy, like a dog to me. They have the same sort of things. They do similar things. They have a connection with humans in the same way. So okay, fine. We've got that argument out of the way. No one I appreciate all the bleeding hearts in the horse community. I think that they really are passionate and they love it, and they're like, no more slaughter for horses, no more rounding up for the wild horses. My brain goes, well, play devil's advocate. If you stop rounding up or stop culling these animals and they are breeding, they're doubling, if not tripling sometimes in a year, what does that mean? Like, I have a ton of goats on my property. If none of them were cut, if I didn't separate the bucks, I would have 600 goats in like 2
In a
years.
year. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Okay, yeah.
right. And the place that I would have them on would eventually become obsolete. They'd overrun it. They would eat too much of the good food,
Yeah,
because they would need the space and there's no
yeah.
predator. My mind makes that connection with the horses. Okay, if we're saying there's too many, right? And that doesn't mean that that's a valid truth. It just means that right now that's the argument. There's too many. Opposing counsel in Washington was heard saying, "We'll never pass the SAFE Act because the wild horses won't have an outlet." And what that means is there's no way to deal with the population increase, with the population management, if the wild horses don't have a slaughter route. So what they're saying is we have no way of balancing or managing those herds because
Yeah,
they're so spread out. There's thousands upon thousands of them. And if you think about that
yeah.
number just doubles in a year because
Of
all
course it
those
does.
mares,
Yeah.
I mean, there's probably a 2/3 are mares, maybe a little bit around
But
half, so you're doubling that every year. A
playing
mama
devil's advocate, the
playing devil's
population
advocate. Yep.
was only 90,000 4 years ago
Right.
on
Right.
53 million acres compared to 6 million cattle.
Right. Well, but the cattle are being managed. The cattle bring in profits, right?
Yep,
It's just a whole different diagram over there. I try to stay very focused on what the problem is so that the
yep,
solution can kind of come forward. And I also try not to point fingers, who's the villain, who's at fault, right? It just kind of
yeah.
clouds the direct focus of what a solution inherently requires. So for me, when I started this rescue, oh my God, I had so much. I got hit so hard by people going, "You're just supporting the industry. You're giving money to the auction houses." And I go, "Well, but at the end of the day, these babies are going to die if I don't
Yeah,
step
you
in.
got.
I don't care who I'm paying. I'll pay you the money. It's a premium. I'll pay the premium. Right
Yeah.
now, I'm trying to save these lives. That's what I'm trying
Well.
to do. I don't care whose pocket I'm putting money into."
Yeah.
And that was really the truth of it.
Yeah.
And but what that does is it's gotten us into rooms and behind doors we would never be if we didn't have that mentality.
Of
Okay.
course. Yep.
So by just going from the heart, aiming for the life, helping these souls, if I was in that position, I hope no one's worried about like logistics and who's getting the money. Just save me.
Yeah.
Just give the
Exactly.
guy
Yeah.
the money and pull
No.
me out of the thing before I die. Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
That's me.
sometimes you have to make negotiations. I mean, you got to negotiate on certain things, and you got to sit there and bend.
Sometimes
You have to because there's too many hands in this pot, right? And
a
everybody's got
lot.
something, and everybody's
Yeah.
got 2 cents to put in there. And then
Yep.
you're right. You're going to have the bleeding hearts that are going to come after you and say no to everything, and
Yeah.
then you're going to have the other people that are going to say no to everything. And
Yeah.
you're like, hold on, we can
Right.
meet in the middle someplace.
Forget all of that. I
Yeah.
mean, I got labeled a mass bailer. I was so confused by this term too. I'm like, mass bailer. I'm like, yeah, I absolutely, I'm going to save as many as I can. If I can save 50 at one time, I'm doing that. You know,
You should see the
like,
video that I posted last week. I got so much hate. There was like 500 comments of just
oh,
nothing but negativity.
oh, well, I have a lawsuit against those people now, and no
Okay.
one sort of, it has a Jane Doe clause for
Okay.
defamation. So it's actually been my kind of like control perimeter fence to keep some of that away because
Okay.
the way these people think, they're like so off in left field. I'm like, guys, like, let me just focus on what I got to do because you guys are just like, "Brr, brr, 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 brr." It's all you
Yeah.
do is talk. I'm literally out there. And if you're out there and I see you, I'll listen to your advice. But if you're not out there, I can't, I got to put my headphones on, you know?
Absolutely. Yep.
So, so I, so I've been labeled, I've been harassed. I mean, I had spies come acting like volunteers trying to collect information. I mean, I've had a lot
Use it
happen
against you.
in
Yeah.
2 years. Yeah, just to try to shut me down. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what are we doing this for? I'm really literally trying to save these animals. So I got that all. That was like my whole last year was dealing with legal stuff. And now I have a court date in a year, but I'm like, great, let him, be straitjacketed for that long, gives me more time.
Yeah.
So I was saving these horses, and all these horses were Navajo reservation horses. And I go to the auction, like I'm at the front line. I call it the front line, ground zero. All these animals being unloaded, tagged, chipped, and then loaded to slaughter. And I'm there. I'm in witness in my. But there's a few other people there, and we're all very close now because we're the actual ones doing that work down on the ground. And I said to myself, I really felt this it's like a massive dam, right? Horses pouring in. I mean, if you haven't seen it, you like just take a second and go, not you, but I'm
I've seen.
saying
No, no,
to
no. I've seen it.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
It
heartbreaking when all seated in the barn. She does her videos every day, and it's just nuts.
I can't. That girl, I'm like, cheers to her. I mean,
Yeah.
I get exhausted just seeing that it's been another month. It's like it happens so her consistency, the clock at which she moves at
She's
is
a
so
saint.
commendable. No, she's
Yeah.
literally like I call her a Viking saint. Like that's
Yeah.
her. That's her. And I went to her because when I started this, I go, who's the biggest player in this game? Like, who's doing the most that I can see? And it was her. And so I went straight to her and I messaged her and I'm like, I'm coming out. If you will, I'd like to learn the ropes. And
Yeah.
she was kind of skeptical. She's like, who's this chick? Like, whatever. She's like, I move fast. You got to keep up. I'm like, okay. And she's not lying, boy. That girl trucks. And I'm like,
Yeah.
taking big steps. She's got long strides. Her hands are huge. She's
Yeah.
grabbing horses, saving them. And I'm like,
Yeah.
wow,
Yep.
how is she doing this? I'm amazed by it. So, but I did the best to learn from her. And the thing that's really beautiful about rescues is they're like fingerprints. They're all unique and different. And you
Yep.
do what you're good at, what your resources allow you to do, and how your structure's set up. You get to do it however you want.
Yep.
And I learned a lot from her. But what I saw was a couple things. What I saw was a giant dam, rushing water, i.e., horses, just like spilling out. And here's us, like trying to pick off a couple, even though we're mass bailers. We're still barely, touching
You
the
don't even make
way
a dent.
barely, right? There's dents being made, but they're so small,
Yeah.
in the grand scheme of things. And I looked at that and I said, wow. The other thing I saw was that I'm not physically strong enough, and my nervous system, I can't, like,
You
as
can't
much
handle
as
it.
no. I would die. I think I was dying, you know, and maybe it's because I give so much with the work that I do. I'm constantly emoting. I'm very impressionable. I'm very emotional. I'm
Yeah,
very empathetic,
it
and
takes a
I
toll.
can't. Oh my God, it took a
Like
toll.
I see that girl crying all the time in her videos, and I'm like, it's heartbreaking to see that.
I don't know her strength that she gets an IV after every single auction. She goes straight to a nurse. She gets a vitamin IV, NAD. She gets her vitals read. She gets if she needs something. I mean, that's the level it's a complete military operation that
Wow.
she's running. And I just do whatever I can to help facilitate what she's doing. I mean, I
Yeah.
run a lot of programs with her. I help navigate people. We do really all the big rescues. We'll partner up and do those together. We just did the 56 babies that came through. She
Okay.
comes to me. She's like, Dawn, we got 56 babies. I'm like, okay, let's do it. Let's figure it out. We got a whole volunteer group going. We got them placed. So I'm almost like a general to her, sort
Yeah.
of like, you know, and she knows what she's doing. And so it's like, let's do whatever you're good at, whatever you're good at, let's come together and work together as like an operation.
Okay.
So when I saw all that and I felt that, and I'm very honest with myself, like I can't do what she's doing. I can't go there every month after month after month, and subject myself to it. I can't. My program's also in its infancy, and I can't handle the influx of that many horses either.
Yeah. Too
So
much.
too much. I have to be realistic. I'm still working on how to get the training programs working. Like I'll get backed up. I get backed up. So I can't move like she's moving 5 years in. She's got those things ironed out. She's got the staff to support it. She's got the properties, the quarantine facilities. I don't have that, right?
Yeah. Of course.
So
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I need to go and look at the source of this thing, because that's one thing no one's doing.
Yeah.
Everybody, at least down there at the front line, was sort of catching everything, you know. And I'm like, okay, if I
Where's it
can't,
coming from?
where is it coming from? Take me to the source of a thing. It's what I do as an actor. Take me to the source of a thing. Why is this character feeling this way? What happened to her in her life? Take me to the source of a thing.
Yeah.
So I said, everybody, you guys are doing great out here. I'm not going to be able to do better than what you're doing. I'm going to start hiking upstream. I'm going to trace this leak and see where it's starting, because that's going to be how we
Put an end
attack
to
it.
it. Yeah. You plug it in
That's
there.
it.
Yep.
That's it. So I put my little backpack on, and metaphorically, and I started hiking upstream. And that's literally what I did. And I
Yeah.
traced it. I go, all my horses are from Navajo Nation. I'm going to go to the Navajos. What's happening here? Let me learn about their program. Let me learn about why there's so many. Let me get the honest truth about what the struggle is here.
Yeah.
And so I went and I sat down with Jesse Jim, who's the Department of Agriculture there for the Navajo Nation. Wonderful girl, newly appointed, loves animals, grew up on a ranch, but also here's the people's problems and what the horses are creating there for the people.
Yeah.
And it's no like win, there's no win there, right? It's just like they're all trying to help each other do the best thing. and
Yeah.
and like it or not, the horses, there's too many of them, as far as they're concerned, with the amount of land that they have, viable land, which is not a lot. If you've ever been on the
No.
Navajo
Of course. Yeah.
Nation,
Yeah.
that land is pretty desolate. It's pretty, I would never, when I went there for the first time, I looked around and I thought, my God, if I had a pasture like this, I would probably be accused of animal cruelty if I was putting horses on it.
Yeah. Because I mean, when we gave them land to all these reservations, we gave
We
them the
gave them
worst
the
land.
worst. It's the worst
Yeah.
land. It's the worst land. It's full of
And that goes
sagebrush,
back to what I said.
crunchy,
Yeah.
no
It's crap.
water. Most of the people there even are struggling getting water to themselves. They can't, they
Yeah.
don't even have running water. They have
It's
to go
just
pick it
land for
up.
them to live on and live like in a horrible situation.
Oh, it's really, really tough. So even out there, if they have a well go down, the horses only know to go to that well. Thousands of horses die because the well gets either goes dry or shuts
Yeah.
or stops working, and they don't even know it stops working sometimes. And they'll crest a hill, and there'll be thousands of horses just dead
Shit.
surrounding the well. Right.
Yeah.
So water is a real problem, and for whatever reason, the government won't allow pipes to be
Pipeline. Yeah.
dropped. And yeah, and it's very bizarre. So they're fighting for that right now, just to have that basic element of water. And if the people are fighting for it, the horses are definitely succumbing
Yeah.
to that. So, if not only because there's too many, the resources for them are very scarce
Yeah.
on that land. And it's a big piece of land, but it's not great
It's
land,
useless.
and there's a ton of horses on it. So So their method is to round them up, and a lot of the people on the nation claim that the government tells them that they're all going to rescues. And
That's not the truth.
it's not the truth, but sadly, I don't want to make an enemy out of them because I feel like they're doing the best that they can. And it's very possible that the contractors that they are giving these contracts to are telling them that, yes, we're a rescue. One of the biggest ones that I know about has actually filed and probably by now has gotten his 501(c)(3) as a rescue, but we all know in the rescue community he's not a rescue, right?
No.
He's a trader.
Yeah,
And
he's going to
so
sell them.
he's selling them straight to the border. Now, I will say that he was a good enough guy to reach out to some rescues to home some of those babies. And so I do appreciate that. But also, he can't sell those babies. Those babies just
No.
end up getting shot and thrown in a pit, which he told us himself that's what happened. So instead of losing out on a profit, maybe we could just get a little bit more money. And so again, it's still about money. It's not
Yeah.
really, and I don't think creating himself as a rescue is really about helping. Maybe, but I don't want to say no. But also, I think it's more of just like a film.
Yeah.
It's just like a smoke and
It,
mirrors thing. So the Navajo government can say, well, he is a rescue. Look,
of
right?
course,
Look,
exactly. He looks good on paper.
yeah, it's
That's
not
what it
it's
comes
not
down to.
really what's happening. And it's sad because I think a lot of the constituents there are being misled and misguided, and I just want everybody to know the truth. That's it. We don't have to lie to people. We don't have to cover their eyes and like tell them one thing so that they look over here and like then do something over here. I just don't, as a human being, that's not a good quality. So even as a government or even as period,
Yeah.
even as a professional, don't do that. Just be honest, be upfront, lead by example, and do the right thing. And if something's not adhering to that that moral principle, then make an effort to shift it, to change it, bring
Yep.
in people and programs that can help. And even talking to a lot of these politicians over there, I'm like, well, why is it like this? And they're like, well, no one's shown up to organize it yet.
Yeah.
And I was
There's
like,
no organization.
that's
No, because you
it.
know what? It doesn't affect their pockets. When it
Yeah.
affects their pockets, everybody will show up.
Well, I
You know.
will tell you this though. I did learn that they've had to, on multiple occasions, stop roundups because people had called and complained to the higher ups. And so they
Yeah.
would get calls down and they would say, you got to stop the roundups right now. We're getting a lot
Eh,
of calls. So
Yep.
that just proves it's
If you
not
make
always
enough
about
noise,
money. Yeah,
no,
it's
but you got to
noise
make
and
noise.
money, right? Those are
Yes.
the two things.
And that's what I think that I need. I need noise to go because I need people to sit there. If we're going to actually fight for this, we need a lot of noise. We need a
Yeah.
lot of people talking, and we
Yeah.
need the right people talking behind
Yeah.
this. You know, but
Yep.
I want to. I mean, I don't know if you're allowed to talk
I know
about.
you keep staring at.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
going. I'm going. I'm going to be there. I'm getting there. I'm
exactly.
getting there. I'm getting there. Well, so a big part of, the big sort of thing that I want to share about my solution is
It's a good
preempted all.
solution.
It's the solution,
Yeah,
honestly. And I know I'm biased, but I dare you to think of a better one. You
yeah,
can't.
yeah,
So part of this multi-tiered sort of progression that I have is, as far as the Navajo Nation goes, when I went there and I talked to everybody, one of the biggest things I would get back was you have to create an economy around the horse on the nation because that's what's going to sort of wake everybody up and sort of attract everybody. So
yeah,
I started the first ever Wild Horse Reservation Challenge that's actually happening right now. We're in the middle of it. The competition goes for 60 days. It's all wild Navajo horses that are put into a competition, Navajo gentlers
yeah,
using gentle Navajo traditional methods that are creating really viable partners with these horses. And we're
yeah,
showcasing the talent. We're creating big purses. We're attracting donors and brands. And now suddenly I think what's going to happen on the res is suddenly now wild horses look different. They're
yeah.
not just
Now they can make
50
money off of
bucks,
them.
get rid of them.
Yep.
Yes.
And
So, yes,
so
that's,
let me ask you a question. Do
yeah.
you think that the BLM horses could be done? A lot of the stuff could happen with BLM horses too.
Well, they have the Mustang Challenge, so they
Yeah,
do that.
I
I
see
think
that.
the,
Yep, that was here
I
in town.
think the, yeah, they do that, and it's become really big, and it's a cool thing. I think that the BLM though is a little bit more of it's a little bit more of an intricate situation,
Yeah,
and I think that it's coupled with things, right? I think injecting funds like from a reservation challenge into a very poor space where horses are not a commodity
Yeah.
is going to make a very different impression than a Mustang challenge that happens in Colorado with a bunch of white people that like they have money. It's not as
It's not the same.
big of a ripple.
Yeah.
The other thing about doing it on the reservation is that the thing that they set up in Washington is that, there has to be an outlet for the wild horses. And we haven't seen any indigenous coming up to saying anything.
I'll
So we
take
don't
them.
hear
Yeah.
anything. You roll
Yeah.
this way. Well, just give me 1 second then, because let me make the platform for them, because I think that it just hasn't been organized.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to organize it. I've already started. And with our program, what we're doing is we're moving from chapter to chapter. And with each chapter, we use the horses in that area. This is our goal.
Yeah.
And the opening of the ceremony is a parade through that chapter town and there's 110 chapters in the Navajo Nation.
Yeah.
And also maybe I get my facts wrong. I'm sorry. I'm new to this. I'm kind of figuring it out as I go. So if
That's
there's more
fine.
chapters and I didn't know about it, just so I put it out there, like she doesn't know what she's talking about. I'm like, probably in a lot of ways no, but I'm a fast learner and I'm gonna figure it out.
Yeah, exactly.
So
No one's holding you to it. No one's gonna hang you up.
oh, go you just wait. You're gonna get 15 messages like, who's that? Whatever.
That's
Go
okay.
back to acting, but for real. So but the board is incredible. We've got the Department of Tourism, who's the vice president, Bobby. He's amazing, and we've got Mo brings plenty. He's a giant horse advocate, Yellowstone actor. Um, and we have a very cool roster of people that are serious. We have one of the big Yellowstone wranglers, Jake Ream, who's a big cutting horse trainer. He's also going to be involved in the judging he's just helping with so much of it. So we've
Yeah.
got a really big team behind us
Yeah.
and they all get it and they all know how it's going to work. And so that's sort of that's my, tracing it back to the source. Now we're doing this. Now we have a connection to the nation. Now we're doing something to help the youth there. We're creating an economy around these horses, and we'll be able to spread awareness that way. The big goal, the solution at the end of the road, the yellow brick road here, is something that I'm extremely proud of and will probably spend the latter years of my life perfecting and spearheading. And it came about through this whole design of me tracing it back to the source and figuring out how to crack the code and not pointing the finger at people. And what it gave me was a very clear path. So the solution for dogs and cats overpopulation is spay and neuter clinic, right? It's very easy. If we didn't have that, they'd be everywhere. We'd be doing the same thing we're doing with the horses. They have spay and neuter. We're able to manage populations that way. Horses, not so easy. Horses, thousands of them, wild, big open range land, very hard, some not even traversable by vehicle.
Yeah.
That's why they use the helicopters to round, because that's just their solution to the issue at hand.
Yeah.
So also veterinary care, not easy to get, right? Because they do make contraception vaccines that you can give, PZP being the safest.
A lot of
But
people don't like PZP.
well, they don't like it, and I understand that. But if you can Google anything, it's the safest. It is the safest contraception. There are cases of it later down the line leading to sterility, which I'm not a fan of.
Yeah.
And then you have the GRNA vaccine, GRNA, maybe. Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
But no notes in front of me. But that one is like a 4 to 5 years. Sometimes it will also work on stallions. But the problem is that, with those, very much sterility is a problem. So that is almost like, let's sterilize everything.
And then you end up killing a population.
Well, then you lose all the genetics, right? So I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of the sterility aspect. I'm actually aimed at a proprietary blend of a contraception that does not sterilize. It doesn't exist right now, but we're in the movement of just, conceptualizing that and we're definitely aimed at that. What does work though is contraception. It does. It works right now. There's groups that are using dart guns and doing it by hand, manpower. Obviously, you can see all the problems here. It's like you can only get to so many, you can only get
Of
so
course.
many. You administer that PZP vaccine and then it needs a booster in 6 months. How in the
How are you
world
going
are
to
you
track it
going?
down? Yep.
How are you going to track them down? People have tried painting and marking tails. I mean, it's ridiculous. It
Yeah.
feels like everything so ancient, archaic, writing stuff down on paper. Also, if you have a herd of 15 black horses, what what do
How
you
you going to?
okay
Yeah.
black I mean it's just you can't you just think
Yeah. How
about
you
it.
going to
It's
find it?
like
The red
it
check
doesn't
mark?
work.
Exactly.
You're gonna mess up, you're gonna miss one, and then now you got 50 of them are pregnant again, and now great, maybe you kind of stalled it a little bit, but the population still rose.
Yeah.
So none of these solutions make sense. They're just it's just shooting in the
Just
dark.
band-aids. That's all they are.
They're just
Yeah.
band-aids, but like bless their hearts, they're trying.
Yeah, of
So
course.
I
Yeah.
do recognize that. And so, with all of that information, my brain sort of works as like it sees patterns, and I look at all those things, and I look at the dog and the cat thing. My mind just kept going back to dog and the cat. It's just such an example. How do we do this? And I had a group show up to the rescue to volunteer, and they were my key. They were the key I was missing. They've had multiple companies, tech companies. They have produced technology for NASA. And I was like, what are the things that you can do? And they were like, these are the things we can do. I go, well, this is how we fix it right here.
Yeah.
And we have filed process patents and for a technology that uses drones to administer payloads of contraception from the air. It essentially will be the first hospital in the sky.
So
And
basically, a drone comes out and drops another drone to shoot contraception into these horses.
yep, they're all they run off of like a group goes out together, and obviously it's a lot more intricate than this, but
Yeah.
we're just gonna, we're dumbing it down for the
No, of
sake
course,
of
exactly.
conversation.
Yep.
And it sends out a group of AI drones, and this AI technology is part of what the partnership with this group is all about. They have MRI technology that they use AI. They have an AI patent on this, and we're using that AI technology in the drones to be able to
And the
track
whole horse.
down. Yep, and it can administer the contraception and with biodegradable vaccines, and we are able to inoculate every horse. And the
Yeah.
AI component is what tracks it, what logs, it's the system, the machine learning system that we can work with to say, okay, system, it's called Ashva Prasada is the name of
Yeah.
the company, and we can say, okay, Ashva, we want no foals born this year. Like maybe we just can't handle them. The terrain can't handle them. Maybe there was a giant drought. We just need to save all these souls.
And
And
cut it back
this
this year.
and the system will respond and then go and will manage that population perfectly. And it has, I mean, you just can just say that and
Yeah.
immediately, oh, that's what's gonna work. That's how it's gonna
Yeah.
work.
Listen, I mean, when I heard it, that's amazing because obviously you can limit, like maybe this year you don't want the herd to grow. And
Yeah.
maybe 2 years from now, maybe you can.
Let's
Uh,
have 400 foals, Ashfa. And, maybe, and the thing that's cool about it is that's just why I don't believe in sterility. And the fact that we
because there's
can
no
use,
reversal.
right, there's no reversal. We lose that ancient genetic line. We don't know when we might
Yeah.
need that eventually. We don't know. Why would we ever want to dead any of that,
Yeah,
right?
of course.
And
Now,
we can, yeah.
which medicine will they use? Or is that not
We're going to
ready?
start with PZP because that
Okay.
is what is the safest on the market. And then,
Yeah.
but everything that we're going to do is going to be proprietary. So
Yeah, of course.
everything from the drones to the contraception to everything, that's just the way we want to create this company. And
Yeah.
I think we can create better medicines. I think we all know the world of the vaccines right now. I certainly don't feel comfortable taking any of them. So, and especially the ones made for animals, it's all about the dollar. It's all about money.
Of
Well,
course.
can you imagine a company started like this that actually is emanating from a rescue?
Yeah.
It's a different mentality,
Yeah,
right?
because
So
you're coming from a different aspect of it.
yep, money
Yeah.
is not my angle. Money is not the reason I'm doing this. I'm really doing this to help
Because you
the
believe in it.
animals. And
Yeah.
because I believe in it, and I think that it's just not the right thing. And I think we can do better. I think we
Yeah.
are better. And I think that in order to do something like this, you have to lead by example. The
Yeah.
vaccines that we create are not going to just be bottom line. It's not going to be, there's no preservatives. I want the animals to be as healthy as they can be. I don't look at a horse any different than myself. I don't want weird chemicals and weird hormones going into me that's going to upset her dynamics or upset my dynamics with my
Yep.
family, and I think that's one of the issues with a lot of these current medicines or current meds on the market, is that they actually do upset herd dynamics. There's documented cases of stallions completely abandoning mare groups that have been inoculated with PCP and
Because
with
they're done.
other
Yeah.
contraception because they're not acting the same. They don't
Yep.
have cycles. So the boys are like, well, you're not right. I'm going to just leave you guys
Yeah. I want to go
alone.
find somebody else. Yep.
Yeah.
So now,
So, mhm.
go ahead, continue.
Yeah. So anything that we create, that's a big part of why we're doing it, is because we want to keep the energy of the system
Yeah.
accurate.
Yep. Okay. Well, obviously, you know why I'm fighting. I'm doing this. This is a big problem, and this is going to take a lot of people like you. I'm going to have to sit down with all types of people because you have some great ideas, and then there's some other people that I have to put together because at the end of the day, like when I speak to some other people and I say, "Hey, look at what she's doing," they're like, "No, no, no, no. My solution is the only way." I'm like, "Hold on. It's not going to work that way. If we start off that way, we can't do it because
No,
you can't be right, she can't be right. Everybody has to come together." And that's
no.
one of the things like what I want to do is I'm bringing a common sense approach to everything, including this. So
Yep.
what you have is great. I think if we can actually get this going towards, like, I mean, when we sit down with the BLM and say, look, we want to end these roundups, but now obviously we understand what your problem is, and we understand what the ranchers are problem, what their problem is. So this is our solution. Now, along with that, well, what you do, I think, in my thoughts, I don't know what your thoughts are with William Simpson and when it's Fire Brigade. Like if we could sit there and manage the herds and then say, okay, now we can, instead of spending the $250 million housing these horses per year, why don't we spend some of that money and start transporting these entire herds to different parts of the land where there is no,
Amazing.
you
Yeah.
know, and then that works. And
It's programs. Yeah. You just have
exactly.
to organize the programs. That's it.
Organize a program. Like
Yeah.
I'm the guy that's going to sit there and say, okay, you do this, you do this, you do this, and this is where we're all going to come together. And at the
Yeah.
end of the day, the horse community's happy, the ranchers are happy. Instead of everybody trying to kill each other,
Yeah.
hey, the ranchers, you want the horses gone. Great, I get it. BLM, you don't know what to do with them, and you're just basically hurting them. And now we're taxpayers, you're footing the bill. How about we just make it?
For everything.
California, exactly. California has wildfires. Those fires are raging because they're not cutting back the grass. They're not cutting. Well, guess what? Horses need grass. They can
Yeah.
go and graze there. And now we can also limit the herds with what you're doing.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and there's even more too with these drones. You can manage the herds. We also have in the patent a way of corralling using the drones. So if
okay.
you have migratory groups that are bands that are running out of the designated area, the drones will be alerted and they can move the
To bring them
horses
back in.
with the drones. Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
And so you've got a lot of ways of doing this, and you may have to spearhead it in Nevada. You may have to go, okay, here is the way, and this is working. This is the proof of
Well, I would
concept.
love your
Here
help.
is how it's working.
I would love your help, and like I said, I'm going to bring a couple other people together, and we should just sit down and get with the ranchers and get with BLM and say, look, this is our
Hmm.
thoughts, and we want to put it together because that's what I'm fighting for. Because at the end of the day, when
Yeah.
I go to Congress, that's one thing I'm going to do, and everyone's going to have an objection. Well, what about this? Guess what? I got this for you. What
Yeah.
about this? I got this for you. Because
Yeah.
if when it comes to the rest of these politicians, if they don't have the people that are putting money in their pockets complaining, they'll go along with it. But if the
Yeah.
rangers start complaining, they're not going to go along with it.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing the rangers say is, I don't want the horses near my cattle.
Yeah.
Okay,
We can fix
that,
that.
we can fix that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And the drones also work for cattle too. I mean,
Yep.
if they want their cows checked on, blood drawn, inoculated, right?
Yeah.
This isn't just for the wild horses. It's going to be able to traverse through wildlife, period. We can
Yeah.
inoculate wild deer where Lyme disease is at an influx. We could administer tick medicine. Like there's a
Yeah. Of
lot
course,
of
there's so
really
many things you could do. Like, okay, you
there's
know what? There's a
so many things. And the
absolutely.
cool part, I understand the problem with, as, politicians thinking of horses as assets, and
Yeah.
that I've even heard they don't want birth control because they want to be able to be rounding them up so that they can sell them for
Yeah.
meat.
Yep. Of course.
The thing, and it blew my mind because I was like, how is that the answer, right? Aren't you also spending money to keep them in these holding facilities? So much
250 a
money.
year.
Yeah, but then my mind reminded me that it's not their money that they're
Okay.
spending. It's the
Yeah. It's
people.
taxpayer. Yeah.
It's the taxpayers'
Well,
money.
that's why we're 40 trillion in debt.
It
because
just
we could,
doesn't. I think once you sort of create this solution, you put it out there and the people hear about it and they're going to be
yeah,
like, well, why aren't you making the right choice? Why
yeah.
aren't we rewilding all these wild herds that are in these holding pens when you have a solution? It
Well,
doesn't make
because
any sense.
common sense evades politicians. All right. Like now, every time I speak to people, I say, look, here's my agenda. It is common sense. I don't know
Yeah.
why people haven't thought about this 30, 40 years ago when it comes to certain things. So now when it comes to this stuff, there's going to be people out there that are going to be naysayers and say, no, 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 I don't like what she's doing, because I've heard it. Because like, when you
Yeah.
posted a video, I
Yeah.
can't tell you how many DMs I got. I don't like what she's doing. I don't. I'm like, listen, nothing is going to be perfect, and it's not going to appease everybody. Because
Yeah.
if that was the case, we'd only be wearing one shirt. We'd only have one type of phone and one type of car. It's
Yeah.
not. We all have different opinions and choices.
Yeah.
But I think what you're doing is a good idea. I think it can really help. And obviously, we have to spread the word. We got to fight for it. We got to get
Yep.
together with the other people. And basically, everybody's going to do a different role. I have a role. You have a role.
Exactly.
And I'd like to put a whole team together and say, here, these are the people that are. Here's our idea. This is our solution. No one has one, and we're proactive, and we actually have the guts to go out there and stand up and say what we want and fight for what
Yeah.
we believe in. You
Yeah.
know.
Well, I'm doing it no matter who stands with. I mean, I have a
Yeah.
lot of people,
Well.
and I love that you see it too, because there's no better solution than this one. Up until
No,
this moment, there hasn't even been a solution.
no,
So the one
exactly, and
that's
I like it.
real.
And like I think you should probably come out here and talk about it to the people out here,
I would
because
love to.
obviously we do have a big chunk of the horses.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
You do. You
yeah,
do.
exactly. And like I got a lot of naysayers, but if I can get you in front of these people that are
Yeah.
saying no, they
Yeah.
can say, "Hold on, okay, okay, I get it now." Because the
Yeah.
problem is the people are coming in there like the people, like the other person that's running for Congress in another district. Now he's not running against me.
Hmm.
He said to me, he goes, "Just get rid of them all, send them to slaughter."
Oh.
And I'm like,
Okay.
"What?" He goes, "I
Okay.
don't want to." He goes, "I
Mass
don't want a single
genocide.
horse." Yeah, that's what he said. And I'm like, "Hold on." I said, "I don't agree with that." And he goes, "Well, the ranchers aren't happy." I said, "Well, there's a solution to it." Well, there is a solution. So that's where you come in and say, "Hold on, I got something for you." And then we
Yeah.
talk to them and talk some common sense in it, because sometimes
Yeah.
people can't see past what like they have so much hate or against something, they won't see past
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, that'd be like corn growers being like, let's just get rid of every other vegetable because we can't make as much money as we can make with
Exactly.
corn. I'm
Yep.
like, well, what happens is you get so monoculture, you get down that road and then everybody starts getting sick.
Yep.
So when you affect the balance of nature, you think because it's a bottom line or it's a money thing, then you start killing things,
Yep.
yourself included.
Of
So
course.
then
Exactly.
like the bees die. It's like don't mess with the thing that's already perfect.
Yeah,
Don't get
I
rid of
know.
things because they're in the way of you making more money. It's not good.
Well, like I said, I would love your help. My biggest thing is it's speaking loud. I need
Yep.
all the loud voices out there. So anybody that's supporting you, I'd love to have them out there
Yep.
speaking about this, because the more people that talk about it,
Yeah.
people in DC will listen,
Yeah.
because they don't want the noise. Because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, those people are voters and they
Yep.
don't want that.
I
So
know
we
it.
got to
I know
cause a lot of noise.
exactly. That's
Yeah.
it. Those are the two
So
things. Well, I'm here. I'm down to
yeah.
come talk to whoever wants to
Okay.
hear it because it's
Yeah.
about to get very loud
Yeah, I'm gonna
and
put some events
it's
together, and
scary.
I'd love to have you out there, and we
Yep.
can start talking about this. And wherever I can get you in the door, same thing. And wherever you can use me to go and
Yeah.
talk, I'll go
Yeah.
out there. I'll do what I
Okay.
have to do. So I
Okay.
appreciate
Count
it.
me in. I love
Okay.
it. Well,
No,
nice
no,
to
thank
have
you.
you. Nice to have you in
And
the herd, Bobby.
of course. So, are you coming to Vegas anytime soon?
Yeah, well, I'm gonna come when you put your thing together. That's what I'm coming.
All right. So, all right, fine. I'll put an event together. I'll get some
Okay.
people in there, some nice, loud voices in there,
Love it.
and I'll also get William in there too. Have
Okay.
you met him yet or no?
No, no.
Okay. I had a very long conversation with him last week too, and
Okay.
I'd love to get you both together in a room, because
Yeah,
I think you can help what he wants to do.
great.
You okay?
I'm in.
All right. Good.
I'm
All right.
in.
Perfect.
Sounds
Good.
good.
All right. So you
Okay.
back to filming today, or are you done for the day?
No, I'll go tomorrow. I had today off, but I'm back in tomorrow.
All right. Good. Well, you know what? Maybe one day we can come check out the set,
You
because
should. It's
yeah,
fun.
we
It's
were
fun.
just in LA. We were on the sets over there. So
Okay. Well,
yeah,
set hopping then. Go ahead, jet
yeah,
setter. Yeah.
yeah. Well, like, I mean, in my personal business, over time, I got to know
Yeah.
a lot of people in
Yeah.
Hollywood and in the music
Yeah.
industry. So, like,
Yeah.
I've been around. I just never like paid attention because I was always in work mode. Now I'm
Yeah.
like, all right, you know what? All right, maybe I'll check this out.
It's kind of
So
fun. It
yeah,
is.
it's
It's
kind
a
of fun.
fun. It's adult make believe. Like I was just talking about this with one of my co-stars. It's like adult make believe with like
Yeah,
adult emotional levels, but
yeah,
it's still make believe. You're still running around with fake guns and like, "Oh,
of
you
course,
better tell
exactly.
me what you're doing." You're like, "What is
Well,
this job?" It's so funny.
well,
Yeah.
the next time you have something fun going on, let me know. I'd love to come
Okay.
out. All right,
Okay.
cool.
We'll do. All right.
All
Thank you,
righty.
Bobby.
Enjoy
Thank
the
you for
rest of your
everything
day.
that you're
Thank you for
doing.
that. I
You too.
appreciate it. Take
Uh-huh.
care. Bye
Okay.
bye.
Bye.